Hello all, welcome to our channel DevOps Tech World. As I mentioned earlier, so I have prepared for the Cloud and DevOps roadmap. This roadmap consists of list of tools and technologies which we will be using as part of the industry projects. Also, the technologies and tools which we are going to discuss as part of this uh, recordings. So this would be mainly used for most of the organizations and widely used technologies in the cloud and DevOps space. Okay, so we'll get into this how to learn and what are the things needs to be follow when we are going for that cloud and DevOps space. So when we talk about DevOps, right? So DevOps is not like a new thing. This was there for quite long before. The practice, the method which you have defined, that the process of solving this use cases, which was earlier, it was quite a manual process. So now this DevOps evolves and has to be automated. Everything has to be deliver the applications or use cases or business cases in a very fast manner into that production environment, right? So the cloud, right? Cloud is evolves very much faster, and also all the most of the applications already migrated, production workloads migrated into cloud infrastructures. So it is a must to know the technology. So everybody has to learn for the any one of the cloud technologies. Start with any one of the cloud technologies and uh, understand the concept. Once you understand the concept of any one of the cloud technologies, then go for study with other service provider as well as like Azure, Google Cloud. Okay, when we start about this cloud and DevOps roadmaps, right? So start with DevOps and cloud. Okay, so what we need to start. So what are the tools and technologies which you are going to use as part of this journey? Okay, we will discuss one by one. So just follow this video so that you can understand easily what needs to be, what are the technologies we are using as part of this. Okay, so then we discuss about the learning path, and also we'll discuss about the technologies as well as for the tools which you are using this DevOps and cloud space, and for the learnings materials, right? Okay. Okay, so the first thing is that when we start with your cloud and DevOps, right? Especially for DevOps, okay. So you need to understand any one of the programming language. So why I'm saying this programming language is must, right? So in the DevOps world, everything has to be automated, right? So when we go for the automation, you need to write a manual steps to be converted into a automated way. So in order to convert the manual way into automated way, so you need to write some scripting language, or you need to write some programming language to convert those steps, manual steps, into automated manner. So that, so the next time when you run that program, or when you run that utility, when you run that scripting, so the whatever the technology, whatever the steps which you manually defined, those steps will be executed automatically. That is how I would prefer. I always insist the people. So when we coming into that DevOps space, so the person has to know at least kind of medium level programming language with scripting knowledge. So please consider about this and understand any one of the programming language, start learning on it. Okay, so I just mentioned, so Python, Go, Java, I there are a lot of programming language, and there are many programming language in the market. So you just realize and understand which one you want to start, okay, please go through, means please go that and try to learn. Okay, so next thing would be like operating system. Yes, it is very, very important. So right now there are majorly Windows, Linux, Mac, right? These are the operating system which we means mostly the application is running. But majority, most of the 90% and above uh, of the projects which is running in Linux operating system. So that is the reason I would suggest, please understand the Linux concepts, study with the Linux operating system. Okay, when I'm saying this Linux operating system, right? So you need to do some analysis, do some research, do some in-depth knowledge when you are study for that particular uh, topics or particular technologies. I just mentioned that what you need to learn as part of this roadmap. Please, when you start your studies, please go in depth and understand and read it accordingly. Okay, so when you talk about Linux, so you have that Linux commands. So try to master on some of the basic Linux command which you are using as part of your day-to-day life, and that would be enough. So when you know, no need to spend, okay, so daily means a lot of times to learn the things, but you would easily understand, you would easily do the things when you are doing your day-to-day BAE activities. Okay, so then once you have done master on some of the Linux commands, then try to learn about scriptings. So shell or bash, okay, so it is mostly same, but you just try to learn shell scripting and also do some hands-on with that shell scripting. Take some use cases, take some scenario-based questions, and try to solve it. Also, you can refer most of the questions, take questions from internet, and try to solve using the script. So when you do so, so you will get more hands-on experience. So that is the reason. So better to practice it more. Okay, so this is comes under operating system. Then next things would be like, right, so we have the control system. So mostly for this version control system, like you can learn easily, and maybe it would be your day-to-day activities, or if you have not done so, you just download from the internet and you can install it in your laptop or desktop and try to do some hands-on for that. Okay, so mostly I mentioned like here Git and GitHub Bitbucket. So there are a lot of tools, version controlling system tools are available in the market. So just you go through, you just master on it for the Git and Git commands. That would be sufficient to uh, make sure how to use the Git tool and how you're versioning your applications or your source code in the Git repository. I hope just to go through this and learn more about understanding what are the branching strategies, and how the Git commands are working, and what are the commands, important commands, all those things. So when you're learning this, you can understand. Please take a note and study repeatedly. Okay. Then next thing would be cloud. Okay. So this is very, very important. Okay, one second. Okay, so cloud, right? So this is one of the trending technologies in the IT market, right? So IT industries. So without cloud, I think mm, uh, it's very means difficult. So you just understand about this current situation, and based on that, maybe you can very well our, so most of our applications already migrating migrated into that cloud infrastructure. So there are lot of advantages in the cloud. So that is the reason industry is always focusing on migrating their workloads, on-premises workload into cloud. So I would suggest, highly recommend to learn any one of the cloud technologies. You in for example, in your organizations, they are using AWS or Azure, Google Cloud. Just whatever the cloud providers which you are using in your organization, just go through, means start studying on that. In case in your organization is not started, or you are not gone through any of the cloud technologies, just start with AWS and get into this deeper. I really, okay, so understand, means just I would suggest, it is a very vast technologies. There are lot of services already there in the each cloud provider. So please go through that, start learning it day by day, everyday basis. So once you start with the learning of cloud technologies, you will come to know the real scenarios and the real usage of cloud. Okay. So next thing is that, so infrastructure provisioning tool. Okay. So infrastructure provisioning tool is very right now it is a famous, very famous tool is like IAC, like Terraform, and there are other tools are there in the market, but mostly and widely used tool would be Terraform. It is very easy, and learning the Terraform also very understandable and also very easy. So please try to learn this and do some hands-on when you are doing for this learning these technologies. And this would be very useful when you are going for, or when you are doing for any kind of work, as from the on-premises as well as for the cloud infrastructures. So try to learn this infrastructure provisioning tool as well. Okay. And I would suggest, I will also understand about, means tell you more thing about this. Terraform is only for the provisioning tool. So this would create an infrastructure, right? The provisioning the infrastructure. So that is the reason it is called infrastructure as a code. Okay, so there are a lot of advantages of using this Terraform. So please get into this and try to use it and try to learn it. Okay. So next thing would be like, okay, so infrastructure configuration tool. Okay, so there are for this, see, each and every section, there are a lot of tools are available in the market, but whatever the tools whatever the technology which I mentioned, since we are already using it as part of our project, and also most of the companies most of the companies are currently using these tools. So that is how I just mentioned, with the limited tools and to get started with cloud and DevOps space. Okay, so when you talk about this infrastructure configuration, so which the one which we already discussed, like infrastructure provisioning tool, this is for infrastructure configuration tool, right? So infrastructure provisioning tool is the Terraform, and infrastructure configuration tool is for Ansible. Okay, so infrastructure provisioning, so what the provisioning in the sense, so you are provisioning the infrastructure. Okay, you are creating the infrastructure. So once you created the infrastructure, so you need to configure the infrastructure, means, so you need to install some software, you need to configure some configuration in that particular infrastructure. So you need to do kind of configuration between two resources, and you need to automate the installation for the infrastructure which you have already created. So for that purpose, Ansible is a very good tool to do the infrastructure configuration automation. Okay, so try to learn that. And for the next tool would be like CI/CD. This is also one of the very important as part of this DevOps space. So continuous integration and continuous delivery and continuous deployment, right? So I just mentioned for a few tools, but there are a lot of tools are there in the market. It's vary from companies to companies. So I just mentioned for three of the tools, three of the tools as part of the CI/CD. So Jenkins, GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps, right? So I think for now, the most of the companies, even for uh, the companies which adopting recently for this the pipeline, which already adopted pipeline also, they are migrating into Azure DevOps right now, right? Because the reason is, so Azure DevOps is the tool which will be used to uh, manage many of the things like Azure boards, Azure pipeline, Azure repos, Azure monitor. So lot of things are there in that as part of this Azure ADO. So when start learning it, so you can easily understand this, the distinguish between other tools and understanding between these other tools with ADO. So please focus on that to try to learn the things. Then once you learn the thing, once you learn, you try to implement the things whatever you learned accordingly by using the practice. Okay, the next thing would be like, okay, containerization. And containerization also very one of the important things, like, so right now the most of the applications which is currently most of the applications which is running on microservices based architecture. So each services as a kind of small services, right? So everything has to be containerized and has to be deployed into Kubernetes clusters. So Oh, means it is deployed into the clusters. So that is managed by you manage those cluster by using Kubernetes, and this whatever the build you are prepared, you just create with the Docker image and has to be pushed into deploy into uh, Kubernetes environment, like any cluster environment, any cluster environment. So has to be deployed in a if in case if it is a means if you are using cluster, if you are using Kubernetes, then it would be you are deploying those all the binaries, all the the binaries into that the pods, okay, in the Kubernetes. Okay, so when you're talking about the containerization, right? So there are the first things you need to understand. So means leave about the Dockers and Kubernetes, but when we are talking about when we talk about this containerization, right? You need to be understand clusters. You need to understand nodes. You need to understand pods. Okay, so what do you mean by clusters? Okay, the clusters in the sense like, okay, so you need maybe for your already your application which is running for a single server. Okay, so serving the customer the serving the customer request, right? So when we talk about the clusters, so you are running, okay, so many servers. Okay, so which means that in a cluster there are a lot of nodes which is present in that particular clusters. Each nodes contains, there are multiple pods, right? So each pods contains the services within the deployable unit for our the build artifact which is running inside that pod, right? So you need to understand in this manner, right? The clusters, how the cluster is defined. So the what cluster contains. Okay, so the cluster contains multiple nodes. Then how nodes represent. So there are each node contains multiple pods. So how pods defined. So why pods pods are using. Each pod contains there are the deployable the units deployable units which is present in the each pod, right? So that is how this connectivity everything, and how the connectivity is establishing for each clusters and nodes as well as for the pods. So all those things which will be managed by there are some orchestration tools, clustering orchestration tool, like there are tools in the market, but most widely used tool is um, Kubernetes, right? So when we are creating an image for the build, when you are creating your build as an image, so there are containerization tools in the market, but the most widely used containerization tool is Docker. And once you have done the whatever the topics which you have discussed earlier, so once you have done all those things, you try to learn this containerization tools, Docker and Kubernetes. Is very, very important. So when you want to deploy your application and manage your applications at a scale. Okay, I hope you have got some idea about this Docker and Kubernetes, and mostly you just focus on the inside what it is running. So how this architecture build it. Okay, then you have, right, finally you can have that monitoring tool. So there are a lot of monitoring tools, and there are variety of monitoring tools in the market. So I just mentioned for the tools which I am using it. So you just whatever the tools you will be maybe based on your company nature, based on your application perspective, so it would be vary. So I am just mentioned here for Kibana and Grafana tools to monitor our applications, right? Okay. So these are the points I would want to highlight you people. Like I hope you have already noted down the points. In case if you have not noted down, just go through again this video so that you can please take a note and note it down the points, the noted down the tools and technologies, then start learning on it. Okay, so this is very, very important. So I would highly recommend go through these tools. Just don't go for lot of tools at the same time and in a particular time. So just pick some tools for each spaces. So I just already mentioned the tools and technology which are highly used. So please go through this one by one and understand very well, and take each and every day learn some of the tools, and you can master on it for those technologies or tools, so that you can able to understand that DevOps and cloud principles. You can easily apply for any jobs or uh, any kind of roles, right, with respect to cloud and DevOps space. So more importantly, build some projects by using these tools and technologies. Then really I really tell you that, right? So when you learn all those things, you will be become a very good DevOps engineer as well as for the cloud engineers, and I'm 100% sure. Please go through that. Okay. So when you come into that a learning platform, so I just mentioned a few of the platforms, right? Uh, I think you can also there are a lot of uh, platforms which is right means available in the internet. I just mentioned here you can go through if you want to learn, you want to purchase some course from that Udemy platform. It is a subscription based, so you can purchase some of the course, whatever the course you want to learn, purchase it from here and learn it, and YouTube videos, and more importantly, for the respective official documentations and technical blogs and the forums, so and etc. So just go through this. These are the ways which you will be learning these technologies, and understand it accordingly. You can build your project. So the final suggestion I would say, Okay, once you learn these technologies, start building on your projects. Start build on your some medium level to complex projects, so that when you do that practice, then only you will come to know where is the problem and what kind of problem you are making it. So when you're learning it, it would be easy. When you're by doing it, you will understand what kind of problem you are facing it, right? And how to solve those problems, so that you can easily understand the concept. So I strongly recommend, please do practice and take more practice and get the use cases from that internet and think about use cases from your own, and accordingly you can solve it, right? So this is my end of uh, advice, means kind of information. So if you need any assistance further, or anything required as part of this roadmap, or any technologies you want to learn apart from this, and please reach out to me. And also you just if you want to do anything, or if you want to understand more about this, you can comment in the YouTube channel. uh, I would always check that, and I will try to clarify your doubt, right? Okay. And also, this is I just set up my roadmap for cloud and DevOps space. Okay, so since we have worked for many projects in our day-to-day, means in our career, so we understand how to build the projects and how to manage those projects, how to solve those issues, which in case of any issues which is raised by the from in the production environment, or maybe in the development space. So that is the reason I strongly suggest, please do hands-on and understand uh, what kind of error you are facing it, and how you are solving those errors. Okay, so I that is pretty much good. So what the tools and technologies which we have discussed. So I am planning to do in future each technologies, each tools kind of hands-on, and we will I will upload the hands-on experience, means hands-on whatever we are doing it. Okay, so and some practical, some of the use cases, some of the projects. So we will when we are doing one by one, so I'll try to upload the videos. So please, okay, you can in case if you want to learn the roadmap which we have defined as part of this video, please understand, okay, please do subscribe and follow my channel, so that whenever I will upload, see the next course of action would be each and every phase of DevOps, each and every phase of cloud. So I just prepare some hands-on experience with along with the required details, and I will upload the details, so that you can learn along with me. So and also we can discuss um, um, as a in as a team manner. Okay, so so that it will be more interactive, and you will also learn from starting to end. So thank you very much for your understanding, and we'll see you in the next uh, we'll see you in the next videos. Okay, all the very best. Thank you.